Hello, hello, Josie here. Are you ready for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And are you sure? 1 minute. I think we got it there. Alrighty, so I'm outside. I'm walking in the grass and just enjoying this cool night and thinking and planning and, so on and so forth. And I was having a conversation or a talk with God, and God and I were discussing, just everything that has been going on, in regards to what certain individuals have decided to do and or have chosen to do against me, one of God's chosen children, and the tactics that they went to try to get me to either take myself out and or for someone to take me out or for them to make me feel some type of way or send me some type of negative energy, negative projection, evil eye, so on and so forth and whatnot. And, today, it has been a better day. Every day with God gets sweeter than, better than the day before. And it makes me love Him more and more. That's a song, actually. And this is not what my enemies, known and unknown, wanted for me. They wanted me to be in quite a bit of despair, quite a bit of anger. One moment. So, because of this, they are now having to deal with what I call judgment, sweet justice, karma. Sweet justice is for me, judgment for them. And the thing is, the problem is that they're going to have is that they are not going to be expecting, they're not going to want to be judged, to be punished, to answer for their wrongdoings. They're not going to want it. They're also not going to expect it. I've kind of touched on this before, but Father God, He likes to check in with His children, and He does it in His own way. He likes to check in with His children to see how they're doing. Not only how they're doing, how they're processing everything that has happened and occurred, how they're feeling about their surroundings, people around them, that live around them, their neighbors, people that have attacked them. He wants us to be comfortable in our spaces. And He knows that there have been energies around us that have been throwing out projections, negative energy, hate, so on and so forth. And everybody handles it differently. Well, I believe that all of that is coming to an end. My neighbors, they wanted me to be scared to come out of the house, to be seen, and or lots of loud noises going by my house, loud noises, loud talking, disrespectful talking, ignoring, so not speaking to me, not saying hello to me, acting like I'm not there, but they're actually doing it intentionally, and it's actually quite readable. And they think that I don't care, or that they think that I care, or that it bothers me, and it does not. The extremes that a lot of these people went to, if it were done to them, they would respond in a different way more than likely, and that is one thing that God is going to be, in a lot of ways, focusing on them, because God knows us all. He knows what we like, what we don't like. He knows what irritates us, what bothers us. He knows what angers us. He knows what saddens us. He knows all these things, right? And that's why I say, and I agree with, vengeance is God's. It's not mine. It's not for me to enact vengeance upon these people that have done things against me, because how was it put to me? How was it explained to me? It is a spiritual battle, not a physical battle. It is a spiritual battle, not a physical battle. We're wrestling against spiritual things. And if you are not familiar and or you do not know how to handle when these attacks are thrown at you, it can throw you off. And people will use a variety of different things to try to come at you, try to attack you. None of it is good. None of it is cool. But like I said, if those things were directed at them, sent towards them, they themselves would not be able to handle or deal with it either. Like, they would go to an extreme. They would have a breakdown, a meltdown. They would have an overreaction, a negative reaction. And I don't know what affects other individuals unless they tell me. A lot of these people, they assumed that I would respond or react how they would respond or react. But not only that, they did not account for someone that does not stoop to low-level tactics such as that, or even any kind of negative tactics that would hurt or harm another individual. That's not something I would do, but that's something that they would do. So God knows our hearts. He knows our hearts. He knows our minds. He knows that we might take it easy on our enemies. He wants us to forgive, but he knows that we might take it easy on our enemies. We might not punish them the way that someone else would punish them if they were not involved, and or if they had not experienced what we experienced. It's kind of like a judge, a judge in a court of law. You take a case to a judge in the court of law, and he reviews the evidence. You bring forth the facts of the case, and so on and so forth. And then he makes a ruling, or 12 of your peers make a ruling. Well, it went from peers making judgments and rulings, that were also equally unfair, unjust, and unwarranted, to now it's in God's hands, and God has to make the rulings and the judgments, which he always is over. But the thing is, there are some people that were corrupt. There are some people that were insecure. There were some people that were jealous. There were some people that were arrogant, cocky, had an issue with me or have an issue with you, and they basically did not do their job. They decided to ignore evidence. They decided to push things under the rug. They decided to, forget, become forgetful. And God is not someone that brushes things under the rug. He's not someone that forgets. He's not someone that is going to lie. Some of these people outright lied and manipulated on the evidence and with the evidence in order to get, things to go in a certain direction, a certain way. And that was a damn shame. That was a shame. Unfortunately, because they decided to do that, it made the ruling really 100 times worse. It made it 100 times worse. Had they done it the right way, they themselves would not be going through any judgment or any kind of punishment. But because they decided to go in a different way, in a different direction, and some of them were manipulated by other people to do so, still, they're going to receive punishment. And that's where God weighing your heart and also knowing your thoughts and your mind really comes into play when he's passing down judgment and punishment. Because if these people did not have a light heart and or a kind heart, if these individuals did not have good thoughts about us, or they hated us, or they did not like us, or whatever, if they had any kind of animosity, any kind of anger, any kind of judgment, any kind of prejudice, any kind of bigotry, any kind of negative stereotype that they had in their mind, or negative prejudice that they had in their mind, well, guess what? God is going to judge that. He's going to take that into account. Be like, oh, okay, so the reason why you decided to go this route was because you're prejudiced against this person because of this, or because you don't like this person because of this, or because you stereotype them into believing that they're all like this, and so they must be like this as well too. So that makes it worse. That just makes it worse. And not only do you get demoted, and that's part of your punishment, but there's other punishments that are going to come along with that. And you never know how God is going to do it. But I can tell you this, anything that I think of, anything that I come up with, does not compare to what God can come up with. And so I leave it in God's hands. That's the point. I've left it all in God's hands, and I've done what God has asked me to do, regardless of what anybody around me has done against me. And if they stopped, if they delayed or hindered my progress, or what I was doing, or the direction I was going in, if they delayed that, once again, that is going to be punished. It's going to be punished. Because they delayed something, and they weren't even wanting it to be delayed. They wanted it to stop. They wanted it to be no more. A lot of these people, they wanted me done and gone, dead, no longer here. So imagine what's going to happen to those individuals that wanted that for me, that wanted me to die, that wanted me to basically no longer be here. So, guess what? It's going to happen to some of these individuals. The ones that did not want me to be here any longer, it's going to end up happening to them. They're going to end up the ones that are going to be suffering from illness, bad health, passing away. They're the ones that are going to be receiving bad news, job loss, home loss, vehicle loss. Everything that they wanted to happen to me, that's what's going to happen to them. And that's not all. It's not just going to be one thing and that's it. No, it's going to be like multiple things. Because these people wanted multiple things to happen to me. You think they just said, oh, we just want this one thing to happen, and if that doesn't work, then okay, we'll just leave it. No. If this didn't work, they went this route. Then they said, well, let's do this, 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 and this all at the same time and see what happens there. Oh, let's take this away. Let's remove this. Let's do this. They tried any and everything. They used anybody and everybody that they could, and none of it worked. By the grace of God. By the grace of God. By the grace of God. There's a song that goes, your grace and mercy brought me through. I'm here in this moment because of you. And not everybody that sings that song really knows what that means, because a lot of people, not everybody, but there are some people that will sing that song that actually put other people through hell. And they themselves would have a hard time getting through. But there are individuals that sing that song that really, really know that God's grace and mercy brought them through. See, there are some people that are just playing. They're playing God. They're playing God right in his face. They really don't they really don't believe and or love him the way that they pretend, the way that they say they do. They're pretending. They're lying. They're being deceitful. And you know the reason why some of those people are doing that is because that is one of the ways that they can get in with other individuals and then try and turn them out into doing some really negative, toxic, manipulative things against other people, and then use the Bible and use God as their own personal weapon to go against and to justify their negative actions against other individuals. Don't use the Bible as a weapon. Don't use it as a justification to attack another person. There is a verse in there that says God said to love one another. Attacking another person is not showing love for another. Lying on a person is not showing love for another. That's a sin. Lying or manipulation is a sin. Stealing is a sin. Lots of sins that people are doing each and every day, but they want to focus on the 1 or 2 or 3 sins that they really hate, they're prejudiced against, they're bigoted against, basically. And anybody that has those sins or portrays those sins or whatever, they're enemy number 1. That's not how it works. And then their own sins, and if they're hidden, if they don't show people what their sin is, they think that they're in the clear. I don't think so. That's not how it works. But see, that's how some people play. That's how some people play with God. And he has his children, his chosen children, out here in the world testing these motherfuckers. And excuse my language, but I just had to say it. Testing these motherfuckers to see how they're going to respond, how they're going to act, what they're going to do, what they're going to say. We're a test for a lot of these people. A test. And sadly, a lot of them failed the test. Not once, not twice, but multiple times. And a lot of them, they knew they were failing the test, but they didn't care because they didn't think that there would be any judgment, any consequence for doing so, because they think they're God. They think they're God, judge, juror, executioner, witch, warlock, and that they have the power and control. Power, control belongs to God and only God.